Good morning, guys. It's Chris from Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the emergency storage shed, where we have to get something out of here for this week because that's the rules. We're entering now our third year. We've completed 2 years of something every week out of this shed. Still a long way to go. Let's go and have a look what we can get today. Yes, episode 105, and we've been working on this shelf here. We got all the top layer off last week. Let's tackle the next shelf, although the next shelf is a large shelf. It includes that welder, so we won't get through all that. We'll take that green tub through to the workbench, but we obviously have some sort of power tool in its case there, I presume, and then there's a black one as well, maybe a cordless drill or something. And in this crate, it looks like we have more parts drawers. So lots of little bits and pieces to sort out, work out what we're going to keep. And I noticed that there's another big parts drawer here, a steel one, and there's another old vintage steel parts drawer there. So it looks to me like the universe is saying, get your small stuff in order. Get all these parts drawers out, sort them out, work out what you want to keep, sell what you don't, and make some more space in this shed. All right, let's get these two power tool, whatever they are, into the bench, and we'll take this crate through and sort it out. Okay, what's your guesses? I'm saying cordless drill, and it's Makita, so maybe an electric planer. We'll have a look in a minute. Oh, there we go. It's not a cordless drill, it's a drill. Should have looked at the label. And this crate's quite heavy. It's actually, I think, got some old number plates or registration plates, maybe a Stanley plane in a box, and some small parts drawers. Okay, let's check out the drill. Is it a Skil drill? Sometimes, of course, these containers get used for other things. It is the actual drill that the packet says it is. 550 watt. Looks quite okay, actually. So that might be quite a saleable one. It's an older model, probably 1990s. Cord looks all right. So we'll test that. We'll put it on the appliance tester. It's not one I need to keep. It is a hammer drill. So that will be something we can sell if it works okay. In fact, let's test it now, then we can get it off the bench. Okay, it's on our appliance tester. Let's make sure it has an earth, although of course it might be double insulated. Yeah, it is. It's double insulated, but we need to make sure that there's no earth leakage of the power. So we'll just give it a quick run. Yeah, that tests safe, so that's fine. Sounds okay. That sounds excellent, actually. Variable speed. Wonder if the hammer drill part works. Probably should. Let's just put some pressure on it. Yep. Sounds very good. The chuck's in good condition. It didn't go rusty because it's been in the case, so that's nice. All right, Skil. This is made in Holland. Well, there you go. I wouldn't have picked that. So it looks like a nice unit. It tests safe. I'll put a tag on it. I'm thinking we'd probably put about $25 on it, maybe 20. I'll check them out online to see if these still sell for much, being the older Skil brand. Certainly going to be much better quality than your made in China drills. Just make sure the cord's okay, but everything should be fine. Very good. Now let's check out the Makita, whatever it is. Okay, did anyone guess any different than a planer? It's it's a sander. Who wins the prize? It's a little orbital sander. That's pretty nice. Oh, it's got plenty of sanding discs as well. Some of them have been used. It looks in great condition, has the little dust bag as well. So I'm thinking that might be something I should hang on to. Makita's a pretty good brand. It's made in USA, I think. Not sure how old it will be. It's got the sleeves on the pins, so it's got to be probably in the last maybe 20 years. Not sure if it's made in the USA or that's just the Makita Corporation of America. Sometimes they don't actually tell you where they're made. But it's a nice looking unit. We'll test that out, but I think I'm going to hang on to this one. I don't have a good little orbital sander, and it's nice, lightweight, and particularly with the dust collector, that's great. We better test it first. Power on. We don't have any metal areas. Is that metal? No, that's plastic, so we can't put our earth probe anywhere to check for an earth. Oh, look at that. Variable speed as well. Back to 1. That sounds like a brand new one, so I'm more than happy to hang on to that one. I don't need to put a tag on it because I'm keeping it myself, but it does test safe. Excellent. That'll be a good piece of kit when I start doing a bit more woodwork stuff in here, when I make more room in my shed. Of course, we could have looked on the label for this one too. Anyway, I'm really happy to find that. I'll find a spot in my shed to keep that for now. And we'll clean up the drill just for sale, and I'll work out a price for that when we look at the notepad later on. All right, let's get some of these drawers out of this crate. Oh, actually, are these number plates? They are. Victoria, the place to be. That's a very old Victorian plate, the black and white one. Victoria, the Garden State. They're matching. And more Victoria, the place to be. And that one looks like a primary producer, probably a tractor or a truck. Is that a pair as well? Yeah. So number plates or registration plates technically are illegal to sell. People do collect them, and people buy and sell them all the time, but technically, and I've never heard of anyone being caught or prosecuted, technically they're illegal to sell. All these numbers would have been discontinued on the registration site, but I've just got a bit of a collection in my shed. I'll hang them up. Some of these could have been off stuff from the farm. In fact, I think that black and white one may have been off an old trailer that Dad made many years ago. So I'll just hang them up in the shed here for now, and a bit of wall art, shed decoration. And now it's time to get these drawers out and have a look at what's in them. I'm not sure if these were mine or they've come out of someone's shed, but we'll go through them and just see how organised this person was, whether it was me or someone else. I think I vaguely recognise them, so I expect they were mine from quite a long time ago, in a previous lifetime, when I had a small engine shop and I tinkered with lots of stuff, which I still kind of do. I just don't have a repair shop anymore. Now, still in this crate, we do have what looks like a Stanley plane in a box. So that's coded. So that came out of someone else's shed. That was never mine. Looks to be the original plane. It has been used, but it looks in excellent condition, so there'll be some good value there. And just a jar in the corner with old switches. All right, these are pretty cool. They're very old push-pull switches, I think. Or is that just a push? Yeah, that's just a momentary on. This one's an old pull out for on and push in for off, I presume, or the other way around, I'm not sure. And that one's a momentary on as well. They're pretty early. They're probably 1940s or so, maybe 50s. We will hang on to those. They may be handy in projects, but I could easily sell those for at least a few dollars each, maybe, possibly even $5 each if someone wanted a nice old switch to complete a vintage project or restoration. But I do hang on to switches here. Until I get too many, then I'll cull some and sell them through the shop. But that's all right. I've got a box for switches. I'll put them away. And we can get this tub off the bench. And I'll move the camera a bit closer and we'll have a look in these drawers. Okay, it's kind of fun looking in old drawers. You never know what you're going to find. And it's almost a window into someone's personality. Now, I think these were mine, so you'll get an idea of my personality, what I used to work on. We have electrical. We have, oh, that's actually, they're little valves out of a pump. Don't remember exactly what. I don't think there's anything worth keeping there. Ah, I remember this. This is part of a governor vane setup on an early Victor lawnmower. That's quite broken. It's just for parts I might have kept. The spring, these little gears used to strip. So these are on the old die-cast metal carbies on a Victor two-stroke lawnmower, but that stuff will just be rubbish. Oh, these are reed valves. They could have been out of a chainsaw. So there you go. It indicates that I used to work on small engines quite a lot. They look like the sort of plastic clips you get that connect the linkage rods in a door, a car door, or something similar. There's some little air fittings, probably from a Victor carby again. These are valve collets. Of course, Victor mowers were two-stroke. They didn't have valves. I don't think they were out of a Briggs & Stratton. They didn't have collets. So I'm not sure what those are out of. They might have even been out of a car. So none of this stuff's going to be much good. I'm not going to hang on to all this. I'll just sort it into various boxes of hardware, some long bolts from something. That, I think I remember, is a friction spring that goes on a Briggs & Stratton starter recoil assembly on, I think it was on the side pull ones. Oh, it might have been on a Victor, the side pull recoil. Little clips from something. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything much I'm really going to keep in here. Just some cup hooks, some valve caps and the valves, some clevis pins, I think they're called. Don't know what they were out of. What have we got here? Just some random clamps and a spring. Alright, so, they're gudgeon pin clips from out of pistons, probably Victor, I would suggest. I used to do a lot of work on Victor 2-strokes. Ball bearings, various keys, some very tiny grub screws and some larger grub screws. I think this set was when I had there's some dividers. When I had my small engine repair shop, there's lots of fuses, some feet, some other circlips. What's down here? Yeah, it's a bit of a random mix, isn't it? Nothing very exciting in those either. Second-hand cable clamps. These are ones that you just nailed into a piece of wood and then you put your cable across and you bend a little brass tag over. Don't think anyone uses those anymore. And this last one, we have some grease nipples, some more circlips. Nothing much worth keeping in that lot. All right, I'll sort it all out. Some of it will go to scrap metal. I'll keep some things like the keys, the grub screws. I don't think I need to keep any of these gudgeon clips. A few brackets I might hang on to, but most of this stuff will just go in the scrap bins. I'll free up these drawers. I'll probably use them to help me sort stuff. All right, so that's sorted out those. And yes, they were mine. And I guess that says I've got a bit of a cluttered personality, or just like to keep stuff because it'll be handy one day. Here we have a bit more of electronic type things. Some potentiometers, some little trimmers, which are again a variable resistor. Is this all going to be electronic stuff? Here we have variable capacitors, which are your tuning gangs and little transistor radios. I think they're known as trimmers. That's on a much older radio. There's a very early brass variable capacitor. Nice. I like seeing them made out of brass. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. Here we have some AM antenna coils on ferrite rods. Sometimes I get old radios where these are broken, so not sure if I'll keep them or not. Light globes, mostly automotive by the looks of that, but there are some smaller ones that go in like dial lights for valve radios. They're interesting. Not sure what they suit. Oh, we have just little gears, and these would have been out of tuning mechanisms on very old radios and things. Yeah, don't know that I'm ever going to use much of that. What's in this one? We have some audio plugs and sockets. A whole heap of valve holders. These are nice, these old light globe holders. These old dual ones, they're often glass and they're faceted. They look really nice in a cabinet. So I'll probably hang on to some of the older ones. But yeah, lots of various lamp holders. A bit of a mixture in here, some clips, a switch, some hose clamps, and some other switches. Big long gang switches out of something. Never going to use something like that. I might use a little toggle switch though. Does it still work? Oh yeah, up and down that way. Just an on-off toggle. So there's some bits and pieces. That looks like a vacuum cleaner switch. Some bits and pieces I'll use, but probably a lot of it I won't. What's in this one? Lots of grub screws and nothing else. A very old wing nut. Looks like cast iron, that one. Some of those were brass. Nothing. Lots of nuts, and often these are usually brass ones that go secure switches or things onto panels on electronic stuff. Lots of small little nuts too. So I will certainly hang on to those. Some longer screws, some little collars, little star washers or shake-proof washers, normal little flat washers, nothing in the bottom. So I was kind of organised, I guess. Yeah, these were definitely all mine. I do remember them all. I probably had them when I used to muck around with electronics in my early teen years, and I used to wreck a lot of stuff and just keep parts. But also some of it would have been in my small engine workshop. Okay, let's check out this Stanley plane. It's kind of cool. It's an original box. And it's got a little surface rust, but not bad. That nearly presents as new. Certainly would with a bit of a clean. Stanley Australia. Plastic handles a little loose, but there's no damage. It's still nicely painted. Made in Australia. That's a really nice plane. Absolutely beautiful. There's no nicks. Looks nice and square. Feels pretty sharp. So I'm wondering if I should hang on to this one because, well, I don't need to justify it to you guys, but it's a really nice Stanley plane. And eventually, obviously, I'm going to turn up. I know I have some Stanley planes stashed aside. I guess I'll keep them for now until I find them all, then pick out the best and then sell the others. As far as value goes, that would have to be $50, $50 to $100, somewhere in that range. I think it's a common size, but it's in such good condition. With the original box, even got the instruction booklet. So I don't know when it'd date to, perhaps the 1980s maybe. Has it got a barcode on the box? No. Maybe a bit earlier, it may date back to the 70s. You usually see barcodes if it's into the 80s. But yeah, really nice piece. I will hang on to it for now, but you know, there's probably upwards of close to $100 value there, I think. But that will stay in my workshop. We've done well for my workshop this time, haven't we? We've got the Makita sander and now a really good plane and some parts drawers to use once I clean them all out. So not too much to sell though. This morning I've been just sitting at my bench sorting out parts drawers, and it's very relaxing. I've had some YouTube videos playing, just catching up on some of the guys that I follow, and I've culled the contents of these drawers by over half actually. There's been a bit of scrap, there's been a bit of rubbish, there's been a bit going in the e-waste bins, and I've cleaned out the drawers and I've sorted them into basic things that I should keep. Just spring steel clips, you never know when you need one or need to modify one. So I'm keeping bits and pieces, a little bit of brass mesh, be handy in a filter, some hose clamps. I've kept the Woodruff keys, they're the half round ones, and then there's some flat straight keys as well. Electrical fittings, circlips, a few grease nipples. I threw out some of the bigger dirty ones. I'm probably really unlikely to use them, but I like to have a bit of stuff on stock. I did cull a lot of the old electrical stuff, but I'll keep these lamp holders. These actually do suit their dial indicator lamps with their brackets, so I may use them down the track. Only kept a few switches. Most of the multi-stage switches, the big long gang switches, I'm never going to use them, and if I do have a job that requires one of those, I'll probably buy a new one rather than use an old second-hand one. The panel lamps and things, I'll keep those ones. Just a few little pulleys and a couple of mechanical bits. I sorted out the little nuts. There's brass ones in the middle there and other ones, easy to sort with a magnet of course. And just these bigger ones that are used to hold switches and things. The grub screws, some longer machine screws. So it's been quite enjoyable sorting. There's the 12-volt globes and the smaller globes that suit various things. Some of these are quite old. Little Edison screw globes, and that one's got a patterned glass, so that's quite an old one. Various fittings, some of them are bayonet fitting. I did keep some of this electrical stuff that I may never use, but I just thought, well, I'll hang on to a few of those bits. There's a chance I'll use one of these potentiometers or a trimmer. Don't know about the coils, but I thought no dramas to hang on to those. And probably I'll never use those ones, the variable capacitors or tuning capacitors, but I'll keep them in there for now. Doesn't hurt to keep a little bit of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I've enjoyed myself sorting and watching some YouTube stuff. Long term, I probably won't keep these parts drawers. They're a bit rough. A lot of the plastic drawers are a bit broken or cracked on the back corners and that sort of stuff. They go brittle over the years. But they're going to be really handy for me to keep sorting stuff. And then I'll upgrade once I find better parts drawers. Or I might even buy a new parts storage system down the track. But anyway, we've got rid of a lot of it. But we really have no return. I'm not selling any of this. So our bottom line for this episode is going to be very low. I thought I might as well clean this Stanley plane up now. It will be probably going into storage in my shed for a while until I get around to having a use for one of these. But I might as well give it a bit of a clean up. And as mentioned, I'll clean the surface rust areas up just with some very fine steel wool. And I've got plenty of WD-40, as most of you regulars know. I find it all the time. So that will help protect it from further rusting. I'll just give it a good clean up all round and then reassemble it. It should look like pretty much like a new one. And there's the plane all reassembled and well and truly sprayed and wiped down with WD-40, so that will be protecting it from any further rusting. Some light staining on the machined sections. I'm not sure what that's from, and I'm not really sure how to get rid of it. It's probably worse on that side. But it may clean off just with more fine steel wool work, but that's fine. I really wanted to just clean it up, protect it with the WD-40, and it can go back in the box until I need it in the future. So out of this week's haul, we've only got one item to sell. Just the Skil drill, which I did a quick check online. I think I can get $25 for it. It certainly runs well. I still have to put a tag on it, and I cleaned the box up a bit so it looks a lot nicer. Got some cool stuff to keep. Got some, well, more stuff to keep, but also the shelves, little drawers are handy for sorting and me processing stuff. So our list really is just one item, not really worth writing down, but we will check back on it and let you know how that goes. The last episode, we haven't sold anything out of that, but that episode, along with the previous two, most of it didn't get in the shop straight away. It sat in the van for a while. In fact, it sat home for a while because the van was too full. So I'm not as prompt as getting this stuff into the shop as I am with the e-waste series we're doing, because I like to give that, I'm much more strict on giving that a certain amount of time. This stuff, well, we sold the Mitsubishi CRT TV to a guy, Mark, who was watching the video, but a lot of this didn't get into the stock for, well, only recently. Did sell the electric fence insulators, so they've gone. And the T-hinge I've actually kept home until I find another one. I've got a box of them somewhere. I'd rather sell it as a pair. And also these Deco brass bases. They are nickel-plated brass, and I cleaned them up, and I can't bear to part with them. I'm sure they'll have an amazing use somewhere down the track. I thought they might even make really cool feet for a robot lamp that I could make up out of bits and pieces. I don't know. I just didn't want to let them go for $5 each because they might be handy one day. Okay, I can hear you all moaning. Anyway, this week we had $25 for a drill, some really cool stuff for the shed, and we made space in the emergency storage shed, which is the ultimate aim. Maybe they could be eye patches. Who knows? They've got to have some use. They're just really, really cool. Very Art Deco, and I think I'll come up with something to use them, and you'll see it down the track, I'm sure, in a video. So thanks for watching, guys. Another episode finished. We've ticked over about $16,400 approximately, and we'll keep going. We'll get another episode up fairly shortly for next week, or whenever I get around to it. It's been really hot here lately, so I've got to pick the days that I spend in the shed. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.